Hey, Michael Church, Crawl Space Ninja. We are on week 8 of the Crawl Space Repair Challenge, and today I want to go over removing old vapor barrier and debris. Why wait until now to remove the vapor barrier? Well, basically, we needed the wood to dry out. As I talked about in week 2 and week 3, part of the phase 1 process is getting that wood to dry. So I want all of that wood to dry out. Another thing is leaving that plastic down gives that dehumidifier the ability to dry out the wood without drying out the soil. If I was to remove the plastic on phase 1, day 1, then that dehumidifier is going to be fighting to dry the soil and the wood. And normally there's more water in the soil, so the wood takes longer to dry. It's also going to make the crawl space less dirty so that you can crawl around and do things. If it's a really dry crawl space, for example, you're going to be kicking up a lot of dust if you don't have that plastic down on the ground. So leaving that plastic does make it less dusty in the crawl space. And it's going to protect you if you do have a flooded crawl space. If it's real muddy down there, that plastic's going to help protect you as you maneuver and do some of the steps involved in encapsulating the process. And believe it or not, it'll actually keep that dehumidifier clean, which is really nice. So if you've got that dehumidifier that we talked about in step 2 and 3 of the process, then you want to make sure that filter stays clean so that that dehumidifier gets that crawl space dry and works efficiently. So these are some of the reasons why you would want to leave the vapor barrier in place up until this moment. Before you remove that vapor barrier, I want you to make sure that the moisture levels in the crawl space are in good shape. I would like for that humidity to have been kept under 60% up until this point so that it could dry out that wood. And I would like to see that wood moisture level around 15% or less. This is actually too high at 53%. That's pegging my meter, which is why we've started the process of getting the crawl space dry up until this point. So make sure you check the moisture readings in the crawl space before you remove that vapor barrier, because once you remove it, that dehumidifier that's been working for a little bit is going to try to dry the ground. This is one of those phases where you can avoid that cat pee smell that we hear everybody talking about so much. So basically, as you can see in these two images, I've got a nice looking plastic on the left and I've got bare dirt on the right. So if you were to put new vapor barrier over this old plastic, even though it looks really good, there could be debris, there could be some wood trapped under this plastic. Perhaps you had an old plumbing leak that you were unaware of from the washing machine, and that gray water made it down into the crawl space on top of the old vapor barrier. So I would rather you remove the old plastic and any debris under that plastic that could grow mold or bacteria, because that could also cause a cat urine smell inside of the crawl space. I do not like multi-layer plastics used inside of a crawl space because I've seen it create a lot of odor issues in the past, especially a plastic that was originally installed in the crawl space or one that's been in there long enough to get something on top of it, like I mentioned, where the washing machine flooded or maybe an animal died in there or something like that. So make sure you get all of that vapor barrier and the debris under it out as part of this process. Don't leave the dirt exposed too long. In other words, after you take out the vapor barrier, I want you to move to the next phase in the crawl space encapsulation, which will be next week's video. As soon as you pull that vapor barrier out, we're going to move to week 9's video. So I'll let you know when that video comes out. I'm not going to share with you what it is yet, but don't wait too long, because if you leave that dirt exposed and that dehumidifier has been installed trying to keep that crawl space dry, that dirt could actually reinfect the wood. Now, it won't look as bad as this picture here. I'm using this more for dramatization, but basically you want to make sure that you remove that plastic before moving to week 9's video, but don't leave too much time, maybe a few hours between week 8 and week 9's process. One other thing I want to mention is that you can work on other phases up until this point. I don't know if I've made that clear in past videos, but as you can see on the left, we were installing insul barrier while that old vapor barrier was installed. So the dehumidifier is working and drying out the crawl space. We had some time, we're utilizing utilizing our time well. We are going ahead and installing that insul barrier. Now, this particular crawl space on the left did not have a lot of high wood moisture levels, so we left the insulation between the joists. That was per the homeowner's request. We didn't see a lot of mold, so they wanted to leave that fiberglass in place, so that way it could be a benefit to insulate the subfloor as well as the foundation walls once we sealed the vents. And then obviously on the right, you could go ahead and start installing that water management system using that hydroway system on the right. So there are some things that you can do in order to maximize your time while the crawl space is drying out. So these are some good things that you can do. As I've mentioned in many of my videos, we've got our book, Crawl Space Repair Myths Busted, located on Amazon. Michael Church with Crawl Space Ninja. We hope you make it a happy and blessed day, and we'll see you later.